Professor, how affect to the couple that women work outside the home?
Okay, this is an important question, obviously, and in the literature, the results that have been found are very mixed. So, in general, people have studied how changes in divorce laws that were related to women working outside the house affected actually a couple's probability of divorce. And the argument there is that the relationship between the wife working and divorce could be positive. And in some cases, it could be that, some have argued that if wife works, then she has less time to take care of the household, and that puts some strain on the marriage, and therefore the fact that the women work causes the marriage to end. And other people, however, have argued that actually the causality goes the other way around. So in other words, if I see that my marriage is in trouble, I might start working, and I'm a housewife, I might start going back on the market to improve my chances if the marriage breaks down, okay? So in our research, what we find is that there are really two types of women in our sample. On the one hand, we do find that there seems to be an argument for these women who work remedially. In other words, the marriage is in trouble. They start working to increase their earnings in case, it's a self-insurance mechanism. You want to ensure that in case of divorce, you have something, a fallback option. You have a job, okay, that would help you. And for those women who we call them remedial workers, women who work in a sense because their marriage is in trouble, we find that higher participation is linked to higher divorce, okay? On the other hand, we have the group of women we're interested in, which is the group that we call career women. These are women that are always working throughout the marriage. So being married, doesn't change their work experience. And also we find that they tend to always earn a constant share of the household income. That is not a lot, it's about 30%, but throughout the marriage. So for those women, actually, it looks like they are less likely to divorce. So for these women, what we argue is that these women have the ability, because they have this attachment to the labor force, they have this ability to weather those small, problems that you may face in your marital life. For example, there might be disagreements about whether to send the children to private school, or there may be disagreement about how much to spend in children clothing, or small things like that. That can be that if a working woman, once that has a stable income, can smooth out much better, than a woman who's just a housewife, and it makes this adjustment much more complicated, because we argue the working woman, the permanent earner, the woman who's a career woman, has money, and so it makes it that is why the marriage is more stable.
Mm-hmm. And in your conclusions, the conclusions of your research say that we can really hope the possibilities of divorce reduced to in a half.
So what we find is that for these women, so I want to be very clear about, because there is really these two types of women in the population. So for these women who are permanently in the labor force, who don't change their behavior when they married, their marriages, their status is associated with a 10 percentage points lower probability of divorce than relative to the other women, and that is about 30% actually of the divorce rate in our sample. And what I want to point out is that this is not driven by the fact that these women have better quality marriages. In fact, we find that whether you are a career woman or not, the quality of your marriage it can be, it doesn't depend on the status of the wife. If anything, marriages to career women are a little bit less happy, or in some cases they have a bit, more problems. But again, so our point is that maybe they're bumpier, but the fact that both partners can, that you can resolve those small problems. I'm not talking about big shocks, but those small problems associated with daily marriage life, the fact that you have a little bit of money might help you keep the marriage together.
Those questions are more difficult to answer, no? Is they are more happy or much happier? Or not?
Actually, we have data. So the data that we have some measures of happiness, measures of whether, say, the spouse has ever thought that the marriage was in trouble, if they ever talked to a lawyer or to a priest about the status of their marriage, and so forth. And it looks like on these dimensions, more oftentimes our career women are as likely to have thought that the marriage was in trouble or to be unhappy, as likely as the non-career women. The ones who are really unhappy are the remedial workers. It's those women who thought that once married they wouldn't have to work, but they have to somehow work remedially because the marriage is in trouble or there is a shock to the husband's income. Those are the ones who are really unhappy.
Thank you.